We're back with Lyrics and Levels. My name is UGoddess. Welcome and thank you for being here with me. If you're with me, let me know that you're with me. Let me know that you're around. I'm definitely around and I'm here to break down yet another week of Diddy nonsense and, featuring Jay-Z. Featuring the one and only Jay-Z. This has turned into literally the Jay-Z and Buzbee show. The Jay-Z and Buzbee show. So we're going to let them have it out. Not in the courthouse, but where? In the court of public opinion. Yeah, that's where they having it out at. In the court of public opinion. So we are the public, and it's only right that we get a chance to see as much of this as we possibly can in the court of public opinion, because that's just how it's playing out. So we're going to wait and see if a few more people join us for the show, for the party. You know what I'm saying? Give me a second. Give me 1 second. Yeah, man. Welcome back to me. Welcome back to UGoddess, I guess you could say. But anyway, I'm here. Like I said, we want to discuss and we want to talk about the latest updates and news in this Jay-Z debacle that we got going on right now. You know what I'm saying? It was all about Diddy, but we knew that eventually more names were going to come out, right? And then last week, we found out that Jay-Z name got added to the lawsuit against Diddy, and this is where we are. Thank y'all for tuning in and joining me. Let's just do a quick rundown, shall we? Let me get my paralegal head on. So basically, right, what we know so far. What do we know so far? That Jay-Z had anonymously sued Buzbee. So let's back up a little bit. We know about Diddy and all the allegations against him. And let's back up even more and say, remember, everything that we talk about today is allegedly. It's all alleged. No, not even no need for quotation marks. No quotation marks. It's allegedly. We don't know any of this to be true or false. We just talking about what's being said. Everything is allegedly, right? So prior to Jay-Z's name being made public, the accuser who's accusing Diddy of doing these things said to her attorney, which is Tony Buzbee out of Houston, Texas, ironically where Beyonce comes from, says, the other guy that I say was involved in this charge is Jay-Z. So Tony Buzbee, I don't know if it was him personally, but the Buzbee side reached out to the Jay-Z side and said, hey, yo, this is what's going on. I have a client that's accusing Diddy of doing certain things, and she's saying that you did it too. I'm reaching out to you. Do you want to sit down and talk about this? What do you want to do? After that happened, Jay-Z took it some type of way and felt like he was being extorted and blackmailed, and he sued Buzbee. But we didn't know nothing about this. Why? Because he sued him anonymously, which, he has a right to do so, just like the accuser has a right to be anonymous as well. Why did Jay-Z sue Tony Buzbee anonymously? The world may never know. But he accused him of extortion, blackmail, and all of these things because allegedly, according to Jay-Z, Buzbee was trying to shake him down for some cash. And Jay-Z wasn't playing them type of games. However, Buzbee has very defiantly and adamantly stated that he never asked Jay-Z for $1. He never asked him for a dime. He just reached out to him to see where and what direction he wanted to go in with this lawsuit. Okay, that's where we are with that. So that's how Jay-Z and Buzbee started going at it, right? Jay-Z anonymously sues Buzbee, saying that he had attempted to blackmail him. Buzbee has always said and has never changed his stance that the letter that he sent to Jay-Z was simply trying to set up some confidential mediation. In other words, he wanted to keep this quiet. I won't say he never, but he wasn't intending on releasing Jay-Z's name to the public at this time. But because Jay-Z sued him, this was his counteroffense. Okay, so fast forward to this week. Did y'all see the press conference by Jay-Z's attorney? Jay-Z's attorney, Spiro, he put on a whole show. It might as well have been the trial. I mean, if that wasn't his opening statement or his closing statement for a trial, then I don't know what that was. He put on a whole show, PowerPoint presentation and everything. He did a very good job, and he was very convincing. And obviously, he's a top paid attorney representing a top paid rapper for a reason. But I'm just wondering, why is Jay-Z doing this? Why is Jay-Z going so hard? Oh, well, maybe it's because he's being accused of doing some really disgusting things to a child. Makes sense. So, yes, he's on the offensive right now. Jay-Z is trying to get ahead of this by duking it out in the court of public opinion. But see, it's like this back and forth thing, so it's really hard to take any of this seriously, but we have to remember that this is serious stuff. We do got to remember that this is serious stuff, but the way it's playing out, it's just typical Hollywood. It's typical Hollywood. So the accuser accuses Jay-Z. The lawyer reaches out to Jay-Z quietly and says, do you want to have a conversation about this? Jay-Z feels like it was an attempt to shake him down and get his money. He sues the attorney, but he sues the attorney anonymously. The attorney releases Jay-Z's name, and now Jay-Z said, it's go time. It's war. Let's go. So at the press conference, Spiro has this whole presentation, 30-minute presentation, tearing down basically the accuser's whole story, which I think if you've been following this, you know that there are problems with this accuser. There are problems with her story. There are problems with her. You feel what I'm saying? So this is what's going on. What's going on in my comments? Certain stuff never goes away. The problem is Diddy look like the leader of it all, my dear. Yes, absolutely. And that's why Diddy caught a RICO charge, a racketeering charge, organized crime. This is what you call organized crime. So that's what's going on, and that's what he's being accused of, right? So in the press conference, the lawyer for Jay-Z says that the accuser, her story is just ridiculousness. It shouldn't be believed. The lawsuit said that the assault happened at this large white house with a U-shaped driveway. I mean, the fact that she's giving these type of details might lend someone to believe that she might know what she's talking about. Like, who would remember these things? But Unfortunately, the lawyer is stating that that house doesn't exist. Now, how can you say that the house don't exist? Like, that's a little bit out there for me. But there are photos of both Jay-Z and Puffy at an after party at a nightclub after the MTV Music Awards. Now, those photos don't prove anything either. Because, okay, they went to an after party. You know how many after parties are after the after party? That was just one event that they were photographed at. That doesn't mean they were there all night. That doesn't mean they were there, during this alleged event. So both sides, I think that's a wash for both sides. The girl is claiming that she was at a house, a white house with a U-shaped driveway. That can't be proven. And the photos of Jay-Z and Puff Daddy together that night at a club also do not debunk that she could have or was at a house with a U-shaped driveway. Here's another point that Spiro brought up. The woman said that she left Rochester and hitched a ride to the MTV Music Awards from a friend. A lot of people are having a hard time with this because she was 13 years old. And a lot of people are saying that I've been reading the comments and hearing all the commentary and reaction to this is when you were 13, did you have a friend who drives? And I think that's a weak argument. And I'm going to tell you why. Why is it a weak argument? Don't think about when you were 13, because maybe when you were 13, you were of a more innocent ilk. Maybe you, as a female 13-year-old, were still playing with your baby dolls and your Barbie dolls at 13. I had younger cousins. I grew up with my younger cousins. When I was 13, I was still doing things that 9 and 10-year-olds were doing. It wasn't the other way around. The 9 and the 10-year-olds weren't doing the things that I was doing. We were playing together like we were all the same age because we grew up together. Do you understand what I mean? So not all 13-year-olds are built the same. That's something that we have to keep in mind. Just playing devil's advocate a little bit here, because we can't think of your average 13-year-old. Some 13-year-olds have to grow up a lot faster than some 13-year-olds. Some 13-year-olds live a different lifestyle than other 13-year-olds. Some 13-year-olds are still young-minded and playing with their baby dolls. And some 13-year-olds are outside at 13. Think about when you were 13. Which one were you? Were you the one that was still kind of young and immature and childish and juvenile? You just became a teenager. You're not 18, you're 13. You're a child. Or were you one of them 13-year-olds that was more on the adult side of things, or thought you were more on the adult side of things, pushing 14, pushing 15, acting like you 21? There's 13-year-olds that's out there that's like that. So I just thought that that was a weak argument. Like, how could she have a friend that drives? Of course she could have a friend that drives. That's ridiculousness. However, that doesn't mean that there's not problems with her story. There's still problems with her story, and she admits it. You feel what I'm saying? Then she gets a ride to the MTV Music Awards. This is New York, people. She gets dropped off. The friend that brought her to the MTV Awards is no longer living. That's totally possible too. This was 24 years ago. How many people have you lost in your life in the last 24 years? How many people have you had to bury in the last 24 years? So again, that's not really that big of a deal for me that the friend, this mysterious friend that drove her to the MTV Music Awards, is no longer alive. Totally possible that that person died. People do die. So I don't think that that necessarily hurts her story. It just doesn't help her story because that person can't be interviewed. That person can't be questioned, cross-examined, subpoenaed. That person is not here to bolster her story. So yeah, that's hurtful to her story in that way, that she can't be interviewed. Older men, Oliver North America, yes, older men sometimes do have younger girlfriends. And again, it harkens back to the fact that some teenagers girls and boys sometimes act a lot older than what they really are. And it could be just based on regular life circumstances. Growing up in a rough neighborhood, growing up in a rough household. You understand what I'm saying? You could be 13 and really have to accelerate your growth spurt. You feel what I'm saying? Very possible that she had an older boyfriend. You never know. So she gets dropped off. She's watching the MTV Video Music Awards, she says, outside on a big screen TV. Totally possible, except allegedly they have found, Vincent, what's going on with you? Allegedly, I'm going to give some shout outs in a minute because I see I do have quite a couple heads commenting and such. And thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for stopping by. Thank you for commenting and watching the show. My name is UGoddess, and this is Lyrics and Levels, and we are going over the details so far of the new details that have been added to the Diddy civil lawsuit by this one particular accuser who has named Jay-Z. Okay, that's where we at with it. She's watching the award show. They say that it was never on a big screen TV. I'm assuming that can be proven by footage from that night. Was there a big screen TV out there in the streets or not? You know what I'm saying? I don't know about y'all, but where I live, when there's a big game or something like that, when there's a big event like the US World Cup, you know what I'm saying? I live in sort of like a soccer neighborhood. It goes up on a big screen. And this is not even New York City. So imagine in New York City. However, they say that it was never shown on a big screen TV. So what is she talking about? That's not okay. What is she talking about? But we're going to talk about that a little bit more. After the show was over, she's mixing and mingling. You know, it's a lot of people outside. This is the MTV Music Awards. It's New York. There's a lot of people outside. She's mixing and mingling and happens to strike up some type of a conversation with a limo driver that allegedly works for Diddy. And the limo driver allegedly recruits her and brings her to the after party. That is not so far-fetched, you guys. That's not so far-fetched. Alleged predators don't always work alone, especially in a situation like this. They got people out there that do things for them that can, bring me this, bring me that type of thing. Runners, yes, men. You know what I'm saying? This is all alleged. But can you picture in your mind that something like that could actually happen? 13-year-old girl that don't look 13 outside with it, New York City after the show, and the limo driver picks her up to bring her back to an after party. Not saying that this happened. I'm just saying that we live in a world where this could be true. This is a world of R. Kelly's and things of this nature. Things like this could happen. Oliver North said, I also do know Diddy has abandoned mansions in Atlanta as well as a house in the Hamptons. Where was the awards ceremony held? That at that time is the question here. Yeah, MTV Awards were in New York in the year 2000. So they were in New York. I want to give a shout out to Luca Mark. I want to give a shout out to Landlord from Alabama, to Twan D6. To Oliver North, of course, to Sincere Essence, to Vincent Ellis. Thank y'all for commenting and interacting with the show. All of this is alleged. We know none of this to be true or false. This is all alleged. And poor victims and poor accused, falsely accused people. Those are the only people that I would feel sorry for in a situation like this. So that's what we know so far about her story, right? Okay. Now, Jay-Z's attorney holds this big press conference yesterday. He wants to make sure that Jay-Z's story gets out there. They trying to get ahead of the game. as far as I'm concerned. In my personal opinion, they trying to get ahead of the game. But how do y'all feel about this being a part of Jay-Z's defense? Me and Puffy were never friends. It's not my friend. I just know him because we in the same circles. I don't chill with him like that. I don't be around him like that. I don't know him like that. That's taking it too far. Hold on. Let me just read the quote. They had a strictly professional relationship, but there was no closer association, nor has there ever been. Just like in all professions, people know each other. If you go to the NBA All-Star game, they support each other. That's just how professions work. The lawyer then explained that Jay-Z has no connection to Diddy. No connect, like Jay-Z, you have no connection to Diddy. It's okay. Like landlord says, we don't blame you. We get it. We understand. But let's be real. And listen, there's photos of these people together for decades upon decades, since the beginning, since the days of Biggie Smalls. Do photos of two people together at every event, every year, all over, at each other's birthday parties, at different award shows, at different after parties, at different kinds of galas and events. Does that a friendship make? Or does that just mean that they run in the same circles, they're in the same industry, so yeah, they're gonna be at the same places together? I think that's bullshit. I call BS. Yeah, you're going to be in the same circles. You're going to be in the same parties. You're going to be at the same events together. But y'all know each other, Jay. Like, y'all are friends. Y'all were friends. Acquaintances then? Like, I can't sit here and tell you that that man is your friend, but you can't sit here and tell me that he's not. Because that makes absolutely no sense. Pictures do tell 1,000 words. You feel what I'm saying? But that don't, like I said, I'm straddling the fence on this because at the end of the day, we live in this world of Facebook and Instagram. You can scroll through somebody's profile and see pictures of them holding flowers, sniffing roses, and skipping through streams of happiness and think that they are the most content person on the planet, but they cry themselves to sleep every night. They're the most depressed person you would ever know, but their pictures don't show you that. You can scroll through somebody's Instagram and see years of photos of a husband and wife holding hands, kissing, happy anniversary, babe, I love you. And they're on the brink of divorce every 3 months. One of them's kicking the other one out the house, but they got pictures on the internet kissing and hugging and making it look like they're the world's greatest couple. So we can't put all of our stock into photos. Definitely not. But I refuse to let Jay-Z sit here and play with my intelligence and tell me that he had no association with Puff Daddy at all. We're not going to play that game. That's just not happening. But we understand. We do understand. They just recently became close once that back end started rolling in. They obviously know each other. They will say Bad Boy and Rockefeller had separate interests. They had separate interests, but they also had similar interests. And that similar interest is the BIG. You know what I'm saying? And that goes all the way. Biggie died in 97. They've been associates for a very that's a long time to be an associate. You feel me? That's a long time to just be bumping into each other, but don't really have no type of close connection. But Jay-Z's not the only one who's separating himself from Diddy, obviously, and for obvious reasons. Will Smith has come out and said, I just want to say this very clearly. I don't have SHIT to do with Puffy. That is a quote from Will Smith. Jamie Foxx on his latest Netflix special has come out and said, and this is, I quote, hell no, N-word. I left them parties early. I was out by 9, N-word. Something ain't look right, N-word. It's slippery in there. All right, you left early. You was out by 9, but you knew it was slippery. I know he's just making a joke. He's Jamie Foxx. This is comedy, but you still trying to separate yourself. But you were there, so stop it. And he has to say that he was there because it's obvious that he was, and a lot of people will be able to say that he was. There's only but so many people that could say they never been to one, besides us regular Joes. A. Watkins, thank you for stopping by. Jay-Z can lose millions the longer this story stays out there. He cannot afford to let this linger for months until a trial. He has a brand and businesses to protect. He has the NFL in his pocket. And the NFL might not stay very much longer if this continues to go in this way. So absolutely. He just so happened to be in all the places he goes. It's nothing crazy. It's just a coincidence. I don't know if it's a coincidence to be at each other's birthday parties, though. So let's talk about the accuser. Mistakes and inconsistencies. We have to remember this happened 24 years ago. Where were you 24 years ago? Were you even born? Were you still in diapers? Were you a teenager? Were you an adult? 24 years. Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's nothing crazy. Just a coincidence that we happen to be in the same. Like I said, I'm not sitting here trying to say that Jay-Z and Puffy was the best of friends. I'm just saying, don't pee on my leg and tell me it's raining. I'm just saying, don't tell me that y'all were only photographed for 30 years because you just so happen to be in the same place at the same time every damn time. Just because you're in the same industry. And then he uses the NBA as an example. Well, the NBA is filled with basketball players and they don't always be in the same place at the same time, and they're all in the same industry. This happened 24 years ago. No, I do not want to believe this story. And I do not want to believe this story. You have to understand, when it comes to the law, there's two sides. So we can't just focus on one side. And if you stick and stay with me, A. Watkins, I'm getting ready to move into the part of this live that's called mistakes and inconsistencies. So I want you to stick and stay. And you don't have to subscribe to me, but you can stick and stay and see that I am working through this. I'm working through this, and we're not going to just look at one side of the story. We're going to look at two, and then somewhere in the middle, there's the truth, right? Okay. So here we go. Mistakes and inconsistencies. This allegedly happened 24 years ago. Where were you 24 years ago? How old were you 24 years ago? What do you remember about the time when you were 13? That's one question. Number two, did something traumatic happen to you in your childhood around this age, 11, 12, 13? Let's call it 13. Anything that you can remember. Did you lose a parent, a loved one? Were you in a car accident? Did you change schools? Did you move to a new school or a new town or city? Something happened to you when you were 13. I ask these questions to say, do you remember everything about that event? I'm not talking about, do you remember the first day of school when you were 13? I'm talking about an actual, like, traumatic or serious, major, life-changing event when you were 13. Do you remember everything? Any rational thinking individual can rationalize there's nothing more than any inner city blues chick looking for a come up. Sincere says. Landlord says she's just being neutral. She's not picking a side. Correct. Not picking sides. I don't do that. I'm asking a question. Do you remember everything about a traumatic event that may have happened to you when you were 13 years old? Something to keep in mind. However, A. Watkins, however, Sincere Essence, there are problems with this accuser's story. Mistakes and inconsistencies. That's what her side calls it. Mistakes and inconsistencies. Well, in a situation like that, we don't have room for error. With an accusation like this, we don't got room for mistakes and inconsistencies, because this is people's lives we're dealing with. True or false? These are people's lives. So mistakes and inconsistencies is not going to cut it for me. However, these are the mistakes and inconsistencies. The alleged victim does admit that some of her recollections about the assault are fuzzy. Why? She says that she was drugged, which is consistent with the majority of the stories that are coming out of the freak-offs, is that there was a lot of drugs being taken, and a lot of people's memories are compromised because of that, which actually can either hurt or help your case on either side. Because if you were high, if you were drugged, how much of this can you actually say you remember? And if you were high and you were drugged and this actually did happen to you, how are you supposed to be able to detail who, what, when, where, why, and how if you were drugged? So we have that going on. Then we find out the accuser is autistic and the victim of a head injury. Okay, this is not okay. That's going to mess with your memory. However, the victim could have gone away by now. After this whirlwind of events, she could have gone away by now. She's sticking and staying with her story. She said, I might not be the clearest, but one thing that I'm clear about is that this happened to me. Sincere says, dragging this man through such unsavory sleaze in the hopes you gain a come up. Nasty word. Unsavory. Sincere, are you a writer? Are you a writer? Because that's like, that's like either lyricist work or author work right there. The way you put those words together. I love it. I love it. 4 problems that I have with our accuser: the father, the location, the friend, and Benji Madden. The father. She says the father picked her up after this event occurred. The father says he does not remember that. This is not going to be good for her. Because how does your father not remember? Unless he himself was taking drugs or in a cloudy state at the time. Is he, does he have Alzheimer's? Does he have the onset of dementia? We don't know what's going on with the father. It was 24 years ago, but damn, think really hard before you come out and make a statement saying that you don't remember this. The location, again, she describes a location that seems to have some specifics to it, but the location cannot be found. The friend is dead, cannot corroborate her story. And Benji Madden, who she says she spoke to that night, says that he was not there. Absolutely, her father could be compromised. Her father might be like, I don't want nothing to do with none. So you guys need to understand, we got to look at this from both sides. Forget that it's Jay-Z, which we're going to get to in a second. Gotta look, you still gotta, this is justice. This is the justice system in America, is it not? You get a prosecution and you get a defense. You don't just get to say, nah, that shit don't even sound logical, man. No case. It doesn't work like that. She gets her day in court. Brandon says, the longer Buzbee stays silent and goes forward with the case, the more the defense is going to keep hurting themselves with the stuff they say. I'm gonna get to that in a second, Brandon. You right there with me where I'm going with this once I wrap this up. I'm gonna ask y'all 3 questions now that we've gone over sort of these events from the beginning to the end. But lastly, those are my 4 problems with the story, obviously. Lastly, the lawyer, after he gave this big to-do press conference, says Jay-Z is so upset. Somebody asked, how's your client doing, Mr. Spiro? And he said, Jay-Z is so upset that someone would be allowed to do this. He's so upset that somebody would be allowed to make a mockery of the system like this. He's upset that this distracts and dissuades real victims from coming forward. And he's upset that his kids and family have to deal with this. He's so upset, and he should be upset that he has to go through this. And I'm like, shh, stop. No, 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 no. Now, I don't like that. That's gonna rub a few people the wrong way. Can y'all figure out why? Why you think that's probably not the best course of action right there? To make it seem like Jay-Z is the victim because he's being accused. See, it's like, poor me, poor Beyonce, poor Blue Ivy. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think that that's really the stance you want to take when you're trying to defend yourself against something like this. And actually, he says, why would someone be allowed to do this? Allowed to bring a lawsuit? Because this is America. That's why. You get to sue. He sued. Didn't he sue Buzbee when he felt like he was being taken advantage of and blackmailed and extorted? He sued Buzbee, just like this young lady is suing you. So what do you mean? How could somebody be allowed to do this? And then he says that it's going to distract and dissuade other victims from coming forward, when really, in reality, it encourages other victims to come forward. If in fact they are victims, all of this is alleged. All of this is alleged. If in fact there are other victims, seeing women come forward and do this actually empowers and encourages them to come forward, because they're like, I won't be alone. I won't be alone. And we know there are real victims out there of these type of victimizations and assaults. But we also know, just like so many of you have been reminding me, there's money involved here. A lot of it. So believe all women is not the case. In any case, I think that's such a ridiculous statement. Human beings lie. And the last I checked, women are human beings. So we're not believing all women. That's not what we're doing here. There's a lot of money on the line. There's a man's reputation on the line. But Jay-Z, this is America. You feel me? So when you ask, how could someone be allowed to do this? The same way you were allowed to sue is the same way she's allowed to sue. And now, unfortunately, yeah, you got to go through it, and you got to fight your best fight, which it looks like that's what his attorney is trying to do. Get ahead of this, stay on top of this, keep saying it wasn't me, I didn't do it, I wasn't there. You got the wrong one. Oh, you thought I was just gonna fade away into the darkness and let you just drag my name. I'm about to show you who I really am. And the attorney is saying, okay. Buzbee is saying, I stand by my client. She's been vetted. She's been investigated. It looks like this girl is not backing down. Now, that don't mean that 3 days from now, we might get the news. Client who accused rapper, superstar mogul, Sean Jay-Z Carter of you know what, has dropped her case. Or superstar Houston, Texas attorney Tony Buzbee has dropped his case against Jay-Z due to lack of evidence and the inability to corroborate the accuser's story. News at 5. I wouldn't be surprised if that happens. But so far, this accuser said she's not backing down. So I want to do a yes or no question session with y'all. He's the victim, believe it or not. There are those navigating our society lingering for a moment to make the headlines. True or false? True. Oliver says, what I will say is at 13, it's hard to find the mental strength to sneak out with enough time to drive 5 hours to the awards. She means she was outside and didn't never come home. It's a wild story. And she don't got nobody to back it up. She don't got nobody to back it up. It's wild. I don't agree with your sentiment in the fact that Jay should accept that this is America. This is a shakedown underwritten by a sleazy so-called officer of the court. Well, just to answer his question, why should someone be allowed to do this? The answer is they're allowed to do it because this is America, where we have a court system where you can file a lawsuit against anybody for anything. This is a civil lawsuit. This is not a criminal lawsuit. So I'm just giving you the literal answer to the question. Don't mean that I agree or disagree. The literal answer is, how can someone be allowed to do this? They're allowed to do this because they can. That's all, sincere. That's all I'm saying. Yes or no answer time, y'all. Is any of this, of what this accuser saying, possible? Any of this, the 5-hour drive from Rochester to Manhattan, hanging out in the streets in New York, watching the MTV Awards on a Jumbotron that may or may not exist, getting picked up allegedly by a limo driver who works for Puffy, who vetted her and recruited her to bring her back to an after party where she was allegedly drugged and allegedly physically assaulted. Is any of that possible? Yes or no? I ain't ask you, do you believe it happened? I just want to know if any of it is possible, that it could have happened. Because when I was 13, I was still acting like I was 10. I was childish. I was immature. I was juvenile. I was a late bloomer. Not that 13 is that late, but it was some 13-year-olds doing a lot more than what some 13-year-olds is doing. It's possible. I agree, landlord from Alabama. That don't mean you believe that it happened. And that don't mean I believe that it happened. I'm just saying, you know, strange things do occur. Number 2, does decades of photos together at parties and events, clinking glasses, shaking hands, dapping each other up, hugging each other, saluting the future, make a friendship? It is tough. This is tough, Oliver North. And I understand why some of y'all who are watching may have a hard time with the things that I'm saying, because I'm not casting stones, or I'm not casting enough doubt on her, on the accuser. But I'm trying, as landlord explained, to remain a neutral party, because that's what you're supposed to do in these types of situations, unless you're giving straight opinion. And in this case, I don't want to give opinion. I just want to give what I'm hearing. I just want to put it out there, and I want to give 2 sides. David says, I'm listening, but I have the Frisco Bowl about to kick off. Memphis versus West Virginia. I have Memphis at 5 under. Okay. David, let me know how that goes. I don't have any skin in the game on that one. I'm not familiar with either one of them teams. And why is the Orange Bowl all the way in the second week of January, David? Why? Last year it was on New Year's. Anyways, friendship. Jay-Z says him and Diddy was never friends. Right, Brandon? We're not trying to say Jay-Z did this. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying don't do that. That's going too far. Number 3, should the accuser have to reveal her name? She revealed Jay-Z's name. She's not a minor. She's a grown-ass woman. She's 38 years old. Should she have to reveal her name? I believe the answer to that is yes, because it's not fair. But the answer legally might be no, because we have to protect alleged victims. She's not a minor no more, though. Eventually, I want her name to come out, Brandon. But here's the problem, Brandon. Her name comes out. And what's going to happen to her? What's going to happen to her family? She has children. We find out where she lives. We find out where she works. We find out any personal information about her. And I don't think there will be anywhere she could hide. She's messing with Jay-Z. And you think she's going to get famous off of it, or you think she's going to get death threats and harassment? But this is it's a price to this. You're trying to sue someone, anyone. I don't give a damn that it's Jay-Z. I do not. This is not about Jay-Z. This is about making a serious accusation like this and not having to say your name. She might not make it to trial. Do you see how hard it is? In my heart of hearts, I believe she should have to reveal her name. But I understand why she doesn't have to at the same damn time. It's crazy. It's crazy to be in this position. Can I just share something with y'all? I'm a boy mom. I pray I never live to see the day that a female accuses my sons of something like this. But because I'm a boy mom, maybe I have a little bit of a different perspective. At some point, she's going to have to reveal yourself. State your name. You're not 13 no more. Big girl. You a big girl. Let us know. It's not even let us know. It's just that, you put his name out there, so now, you should have to. Why do you get to hide under this cloud of anonymity while everybody else is revealed? I mean, we know the literal answer. Victims have victim rights, even if they're alleged victims. Alleged victims have victims' rights. And one of those rights is to be anonymous. However, David brings up a very good point. David is in tune. He's tapped into what's going on. There was a particular case where the judge said, listen here, listen, I'm not reading none of this until you reveal your Jane Doe's name. Because Jane Doe can't just be walking around just accusing everybody of everything, and nobody ever gets to know who she is, but everybody else gets to be revealed. Like, I need to know that this person is serious. This Jane Doe nonsense is not working in my courtroom. She must reveal her. Now, if you do that, that's really standing on business. That's showing us that, like, oh, I wasn't playing. I said that this happened to me and I mean it. And I'm ready to come forward and tell my story. Hand over my heart, hand to God. Here I am. So this is where we're at with it, y'all. If you haven't seen the press conference by Jay-Z's attorney, you should probably watch it. Do you think Jay-Z's attorney went too far, or is this what he needs to do? Stay on top of it, take the offense, don't be defensive, get out there and be like, my client didn't do this. Their client's story is a hot, flaming mess. It cannot be proven. Here are all the holes in her story. The end. Good night. Holla at me. You know? It was a good approach, I feel. But I feel, Jay-Z, you just got to be careful, because here's the thing. You don't want to fight this in the court of public opinion. We as the fans, we as the onlookers, we're going to form our opinions anyway. But this is not where you do it. And then the flip side of that is you're damned if you do, you damned if you don't. Because if you don't say anything, people are going to say you look guilty. If you do say something, you might F around and say something wrong that's going to be misinterpreted. You might F around and say too much. So I don't know. But there are, Jay-Z's right, there are real victims out here. Real victims that go through real things, that have been touched and violated and hurt and assaulted by real predators. And I think for the most part, most of us don't think Jay-Z did this, because we can't imagine Jay-Z doing something like this. Not because we know him personally, we just can't imagine it. And there's too many holes in her story, and it's a hot mess. But do we believe the freak-offs happened? Do we believe the freak-offs happened? Do we believe that those Diddy parties were everything we always heard that they were when we were coming up in the world? Hell yeah. This is Hollywood we talking about. And when I say Hollywood, I just mean, I'm just using that as a blanket term for celebrities. To protect our kids, we have to stop thinking we're snitches if we talk to police. Instead, become educated on what the law allows us to do and not to do. Yeah. That would help Oliver North. That would help people from waiting 24 years to tell a story. Because that really, really makes it difficult for us. Who are we? We just the court of public opinion, but makes it super difficult for us to believe stuff like that. Or we start asking, and maybe it's not that we have a hard time believing, but we just start asking why they wait so long. Why they wait so long? We have a problem digesting that. The baby oil was for Lizzo's video. Oh, God. That's a lot of baby oil, Oliver North. So anyways, it's been about an hour. I really do appreciate all of y'all for interacting, liking, commenting, being here with me. How can they be so dumb about it? Tiger Woods did it the better way. These celebrities, man. We talked about this in my very first, and maybe I'll find a way to link, or either put it up here or put it down here, the video on my first Diddy video, when we talked about how physical assault of this nature, that kind of physical assault, the SA, is more so about power than it is about taking it. Because men of this stature and women of this stature and this elite status in life do not need to force anyone to have sex with them. The sex is like they're tripping over it on the way to the mailbox in the morning. Like it's everywhere. You don't need to hold anybody down or drug anyone to sleep with them. Are you kidding me? The line is longer than Disney World on Family and Friends Day. So it's not about having to hold someone down and take it from them. It's more so about the power that you wield when you do stuff like that. Making someone drowsy, woozy. They don't have their wits about them. When you could have easily just been like, hey, you want to get it? And, and she's like, hell yeah, what, to show me where, when, and when. It's nothing. That's what groupies are for. That's what groupies are for. They don't need to be assaulted. They like, sign me up. Yeah, why is Diddy still walking around? If he was doing this to men, let's take the women out of it. Men, you woke up and looked around and realized something like that happened to you? And Puffy's still around 25 years later? You liked it, I guess. Because why so many of them let him get away with it type shit. I understand what you're saying, Oliver North. I'm with you on that. Who blackmails you, Puffy? Maybe, he could have video of you, pictures of you, especially the men. Men doing things that men really not, especially in the hip hop community. Photos and videos of men doing weird things. Anyways, let me stop before YouTube really YouTube already didn't let me get too many views on this video. They don't like when we talk about this type of stuff, y'all. Unless you're like a major channel with thousands and thousands and tens and hundreds of thousands of subscribers. They really don't like this type of content and topic. And neither do I. It's not like, I could be talking about other things, but again, this is lyrics and levels and the law. This is literally the fields that I work in, y'all. So, and with me being an artist, it's like bringing two worlds of mine together. I'm an artist and I'm in the legal field. There you go. That explains lyrics and levels and the law. Thank you. I appreciate y'all for enjoying the session. Don't forget to hit the like. We're going to wrap it up. Don't forget to hit the like. My name is UGoddess. This is Lyrics and Levels. I'll be back again. I'm keeping my eye and my ears to the streets. Y'all leave comments and let me know what you think about the show if you're watching this on the playback. I'm sorry for those of y'all that did not like my approach. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not picking one side or another, but that's not how I play. I'm sitting here and I'm watching the cards fall where they may. And then I come on here and we talk about it. That's all. And everybody is right to have their opinion. The only time opinions are not okay is when we're dealing with the law. Your opinion does not matter. Only the law. But anyway, not yet, David. Help me get there. Let's get there together. I'm not major like law, not yet. All right, y'all. Thank you for joining me. My name is UGoddess. Please hit the like. Please leave a comment if you're watching this on the playback, and we will talk again. I'll be back on another day. You already